Hi, it's Sue. Welcome back to my channel today. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying some sunshine. I've got to say there are definite advantages here at the moment. We have quite cool starts, or we have been having, but at the end of the day we have the most glorious sunsets, and I took a picture last night and I will add it to the end of my video today. It is just glorious. It looked like the river was on fire. Okay, right, so here are my dried clay pieces. The shell appears to have stuck. This one with the gold, that appears to be well fixed. And the same with this one. This one, however, didn't stick, but it's left quite a nice impression. That was the plain heart. They are a bit chalky so far. I'm going to paint them, I'm going to brush them. But what I've done with most of these is I've rubbed around the edge here, like so, with an emery board. Just a reasonably fine one, and it is very chalky. Comes off in dusts. In dust, I should say. In dusts. But it does give you the chance to even things out. And if you get bits around the outside that you kind of do get when you use cutters, you can gently file those off. You know, these are going to be imperfect shapes, to be fair. They're not, strictly speaking, perfectly round, but that's fine. They're handmade. It's part of the charm, I think. Just go around the outer edge. There we go. Put that away. Now I'm going to I need a brush. Oh, I thought I had my brush here, and I haven't. I'll grab that in a moment. But what I did, there was a lump of clay left. So I covered my little trinket bowl that sits at the back of my desk and added the clay over some non-stick paper. And I've given that a bit of a rub. I mean, totally imperfect. It's the sort of thing you would have made at school, but, you know, for a little dish on the desk, I don't think that's too bad. But that's going to need a good brush as well. So I get rid of that and just grab my brush, which, here we go. So just give that a light brush. It looks like pastry. It looks like a bit like salt dough, if you've ever made that. One. And what I'm going to do a couple of different, oops, threw that one away. That was the one I did the smiley face on and decided I didn't like it. So it's got sort of a smiley face on one side. Okay. These I'm going to paint, and then I'm going to add a gem, something in the middle of that one. Same with this one. It's a plain one. And that tiny, tiny little one. Okay, that's all of those. So get rid of that. Now this one. Be quite a bit of dust in this one, yeah. Looks like a pastry case. I've never done pottery. I've always thought I'd like to try, you know, pottery on a pottery wheel. It's on my wish list, things to do. And there are a couple of places close by that actually have classes, so one day. All right, we'll call that it. Okay, so now to paint, what I have, let's pull my sleeves up because this could be messy. So that one, separate. I'm going to keep these two separate because I might try something a bit different with those. Okay. So what I have, I bought some of these Posca pens, water-based paint markers, and I got mine from my local Officeworks. I haven't tried them yet, so we'll get some out. Pink. Start with these. They've still got the seal on. Sorry, I should have opened these, shouldn't I? Right, let's just start. Now I should probably have gloves on because I'm going to get in a mess. Nothing surer. Okay, so the blue one. No, actually I want that one to be. We'll use this one or this one. Let's start small. Now, to activate these, you have to press down on them. Yeah, so once you press down, you can see the paint coming down to the nib. So let's see what it's like. Okay, I was hoping that would go a little bit better than this. Right, give me a minute. I'm having a little rethink on this one. Okay, so what I've done is I've got my watercolour paints out here and a bigger brush, a bigger round brush. It's probably about with the blue, and I've just done the seashell in a sort of sea green. Now this one, I thought this one would be quite nice in a pink, do we think, or... Right, I'm going to finish these off and I will be back. Hi, so I'm back. Okay, so the paint dried quite well. I had fun sticking the bits in. That little gold piece came off because I tried using my glue gun, and unfortunately my glue gun just put a great big glob of glue on there, and the half back sprinkle that I was using, half circle, stood up too high, so I took it off, and taking it off I pulled off the gold piece underneath, so it's my fault really. However, I found that I could glue it back on with my fabric glue. That was strong enough, and it also was strong enough to hold the sprinkles and one little pearl I put in this one. So I'll bring in my bits. Here we go. I'm not sure how many of these bits I'm going to need, but somewhere, here we go. I've got a split ring, and which one was I starting with? This one. I'm using a silver split ring, and let's just see if I can do this without breaking. The other thing I did was I've sprayed them with a couple of coats of varnish, a matte varnish, just for a bit of protection, I thought. I don't know whether that works, but that's what I've done. This will be the fun bit now. Making sure that that hole goes right the way through. Okay, well, it is clear, it should go through. Try again. There we go, that's better. Okay, so that's on now. Let's thread it through one of these. Oops. There we go, there's one. And a couple of them I have gone around the edges a little bit with the emery board just to rough it up, distress it a little bit. There we are. Let's move all this. Now, I didn't paint my little dish. I will paint it, but I want to add this little doily, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go with it. Whether I will use watercolour paint or my acrylic paints, I haven't decided yet. But until I do, I have a few to play with, look. How many did I end up with? 7? I do like the little ones. They're fiddly, but I like them. So what have I got? 2, 4, 6. Oh no, I ended up with 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. There you go. So 8 little dangles. Different, fun. Would I do it again? Probably not. Probably easier just to use beads, to be honest. So I'll bring you in a bit closer so you can see after all that flapping around. There you go. Whoops. My clay dangles. Painted, sprayed with some varnish, added some pen strokes on a couple, rubbed some areas on others to distress them, and I could put a bit of ink on that distressed area. I may well. Yeah, just for something different. Hope you enjoyed that. It was a bit stop-start, this movie. But that's the nature of this sort of craft, isn't it? All right, well, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I will edit this and see if I cut it right down. I might add a bit of something else onto this one. We'll see. Okay, thanks so much for calling past, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. Okay. So I finished stitching my lace on to my book, or my book spine cover, and it will sit something like that. So the lace just comes around the spine here. Now, for mine, I want to do a hidden spine. So I have cut a strip of slightly thinner card than I used in the spine, and I've cut it to 1 1/4 inches the same. And I've cut a piece of fabric that is about 2 1/4, I think, or just over 2. And actually that's glue, sadly, there, but never mind. Hopefully you won't notice that when the book's bound. But I marked my spots for 3 signatures, and I start with the centre, and then I go from the top and the bottom, and I've basically said the centre is about just over 3 inches, and I've come 1/2 inch up from the top and the bottom to punch those holes. And I've also done the same in my signatures. So the signatures are all ready to go. I've marked the spot and punched the holes. And what I do, I know a lot of people do it on their desk like this, just laying it flat and pushing the sharp point of your pokey tool. I do it this way. I put it into a book cover, and I generally do it on my lap, and I make sure that everything is tucked down into the spine of an old paperback, and then I push through, and I find that a lot easier, and it's easier to see from this side. You can go back in from the top and poke those holes if you need to. I think I've done them on all but this one. And if you're not sure, just go back in. There it is. Okay, so that you can see where those holes are. I've put some big clips on to hold that in position. And I'm going to start, I always start from the back of mine. I don't know why. I've always done it that way. I start from the back and work forward. So I'm sure you know how to do this, but in case you don't, you go in through the center. What I tend to do is try and hold this here, because there's nothing worse than thinking you're almost through, almost finished, and then you pull your thread through. Okay, so you go through there, and we need to go through that last set of stitches, holes in the center. Okay, and from there you go either up to the top of the bottom, and I go up to the top and go in through that hole. And I'm using quite a long pin here, a long needle. Okay, and from there you go in through the journal. And you want to try and keep this reasonably tight without pulling too much so that you rip your paper. And then you go down to the bottom and through both the journal and your card. And this needle is long, but it's also quite chunky, so it'll make my holes even bigger, but that's fine. Okay, just unthreaded my needle there. Then we go back into the centre. There we go. And you want to come up on the other side. Oh, I was on the other side. The other side of the centre thread. Okay, so you literally have one piece on either side. You can see that original piece is here, and you've got this piece. Now, I didn't really leave that long enough. I wanted it to be a bit longer, so if I want to add dangles, I've got enough space on the thread. No, other way. Hang on. It goes this way. That's it. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, they're about even now. And then we just want to make sure that's good and tight, not too much slack here. Now that for me is too slack. And that's because I've been playing around with it. So, it feels a little bit better. Let's tie the first of the knots. Check it again. Yep, that's better. And then the second knot. And 2 knots should do it really, but you know, if you want to do more, go for it. So that's the first signature in. Now we'll go for the second one. I'll cut 2 pieces. Let's just cut the third ready, and I'm just using embroidery floss. It's DMC Pearl 8. I'm using in white. I normally use a waxed thread, and in fact I've got them out here on my desk. But I thought, no, everybody talks about embroidery cottons. I know they use the 6-stranded, but this is quite strong. I thought I'd give it a try. Oops, and the light's going, so I better be quick. Okay, so this is my second journal, signature, sorry. I'll just double check that I have. No, I haven't. Okay, well you get to see me do the holes. Okay, so we'll push that in. Grab my pokey tool, I'll go to the centre first. Straight through, then the top. Straight through. And the bottom. There we go. Yep. Just check that one. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that is 2. Okay. Put the clips on. In through the centre. Let's try and keep a bit more thread on there. Okay, so into the centre. Let's move that out of the way. Bring this one in. Okay, the centre on the spine is there. So we take that through. Yeah, that's fine. Up to the top. There and it's also there. Let's push that through. These needles are really for leather work, I think. So they are quite sturdy, quite chunky. That's fine. Okay, into the bottom. There it is. One, then we'll check it again. Yeah, that's good. So that's our second signature in. And lucky last. There we go. The thing to be careful is that you don't split that centre thread, because if you do, you weaken the thread. It's okay if it comes up on the same side, you can always thread it under, but just be mindful of splitting that thread. You really don't want to do that. So now the spine is ready to be glued in to the book spine. Okay. And what I'm going to do is add lots of glue onto this card piece. I might just have enough of this. Okay, now at this point, make sure you've got everything the right way round. Okay, so put my light on. I put it on like that. Helps me without blinding you, hopefully. All right. Want to make sure, yeah, that's fine. I don't want the cardboard to impede the page, the covers, front and back covers, and it doesn't, so that's good. So we'll just get in between. Here, there's my bone folder. Press that down. In between the signatures. And I think that's pretty good. Hold it all together, press it down. There we go. So all that's left to do is to finish off the inside covers, and I've got paper ready to do that. Okay, and I want to put a pocket as well on here. So I might do a bit of stitching around this before it goes in, and the same on the back. And that should cover, hopefully I can get it over that fabric so that that looks a bit tidier, like so. And then once that's done, this piece can go on, and this will just be glued on. And I'll have to trim up that bottom. And I might do that and over sew the bottom. I wanted to keep the top. I quite like that tatty top. Do I? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so there we are. The signature's in, it just needs the final bit of decoration. And I'll decide what I want to do with these. Okay, thanks so much for calling past. And I hope to see you in the next video where I will share the finished project and maybe something else, hey? For the last day, I think. Okay, thanks so much. Bye now.